Star Wars Resistance is a show for kids. Star Wars Resistance is stupid. Star Wars Resistance is not canon. I'd rather have a Jar Jar Binks standalone film. These are all just some comments on the first look trailer for Star Wars Resistance that was released back in August, and I'll admit I shared a portion of the sentiment. I didn't think that Star Wars Resistance was going to be very good. However, I sit here 5 months later, having seen the first half of Season 1 and having seen the mid-season trailer that was released yesterday, and I have to tell you, I was wrong. We were all wrong. The show's actually pretty alright. Now, I know that there's going to be some people out there who I'm just not going to be able to convince to watch this show, and those are the same kinds of people who downvoted the trailer within 20 seconds of it being released. I know because I was there as soon as it got released and I saw the dislikes. But I still want to talk to the rest of you who haven't seen the show and talk to you about why you should watch it. So let me just set the scene for you. I don't love everything that Disney has done with Star Wars. I hated The Last Jedi. I made several videos talking about why I hated The Last Jedi. I think they've made some really stupid decisions when it comes to their movies, specifically looking at you, Solo. But there's some stuff that I have enjoyed that they've done. I really liked The Force Awakens, and I absolutely loved Star Wars Rebels. I also had serious doubts about Star Wars Resistance when I saw the first look trailer. It looked too goofy, the main character looked like a buffoon, and I wasn't really sure how they could do a show that was set just 6 months before The Force Awakens. But I gave it a chance. I sat down and I watched the first few episodes. And sure, Kaz is a bit of a klutz, he's very clumsy, and he's certainly quite dense during those first few episodes, and it being restricted to the platform does present certain challenges, but as each episode has gone since then, it's gotten better. The characters are actually given some character developments during the first part of the season, and it helps to flatten out any of the annoying flaws that they have. We get to see more of the First Order, and any episode that's involved Poe has been a great adventure so far. Also, what it's doing, and I know it's still early doors, but it's doing something that Star Wars fans have complained about for years now, and it's actually expanding the wider galaxy. It's giving us a look into the politics of the universe. It's showing us more of the New Republic, more of the First Order. It's exactly what fans have been complaining about at Disney for years, and now we're actually getting what we wanted. I think that alone should be enough for you to give the show a chance. But if that's not enough to convince you, let's take a look at the mid-season trailer. Now, it has a lot packed into it, plenty of First Order action, we see space combat, we see the platform being sank, we see a far more serious and adult tone, and my favourite thing about the trailer is that they directly tied it into Episode 7, as we saw General Hux giving his speech on Starkiller Base.
To the First Order, and we'll remember this as the last day of the Republic.
So that opens up a huge amount of opportunities for the show. If they are setting it directly during the events of Episode 7, then they can expand on what many thought was a very weak reboot to the Star Wars saga, and could give us a lot more information heading into Episode 9. Sure, these characters started out as insignificant, and I certainly thought that they wouldn't have a big part to play when it came to the larger Star Wars saga, but it now seems like they could actually have a big part to play, and that is quite exciting. Now let's talk about the initial fan reaction and the critical reviews that have come out since then. Now, the first look trailer was heavily disliked, and you know, again, I can understand that. The trailer wasn't great, and I'm sure that there is an element of anti-Disney bias in that as well, but I would have disliked it at that point. Now, the next trailer that comes out, the like-dislike ratio, it's still in the negative, but it's getting better. The second trailer they brought out, which was the extended sneak peek, gave us a bigger insight into some of the characters, and it actually made it look a lot better than the first trailer did. But if you look at the mid-season trailer, the like-dislike ratio is heavily in the positive, and that's because people have had a chance to see the show, they've seen what's coming up next, and they're actually saying, yes, this is actually a really good series, I'm enjoying this, I'm looking forward to what's to come, and they've given it a like, and I think that shows you just how much better this show has been than people expected. If you look at the critical response, that's been largely encouraging. It's mostly positive, and the ratings for the show, whilst they started out quite weak, and it is still not a lot compared to the likes of Clone Wars and Rebels. It is steadily getting stronger and stronger as the series goes on. Now, I completely understand the fans' initial distrust of the trailers. We've been burned before with trailers from Disney, not just Disney, but films in general these days. But the show that's been presented so far has actually been very good. The second half of Season 1 is going to make or break the show in my opinion, and it only makes sense that they're going to start ramping up the tension and the storytelling. And most people that I've spoken to, whether it's friends or people online, they seem to have enjoyed the show in spite of their initial doubts. And if you haven't seen it yet, I'd be willing to bet that you would enjoy it more than you thought you would. Now, one of the biggest complaints that came across when Resistance was announced was that it was a show for kids. The same complaints that Rebels got. And yes, it does generally have a more kid-friendly tone, but let's face it, we're getting the return of the Clone Wars, we're getting the Mandalorian later this year. Those two shows are going to cater for an older and more mature audience. But does that mean that we can't enjoy a show that is aimed towards a younger audience? I don't think so. So what I would say is that the first half of this first season has been consistent. It's not blown me away with anything magical, but it's put the stepping stones and the building blocks for something that's greater, and the mid-season trailer that was released yesterday is giving me a lot of encouragement that they are going to take this series and they are going to thrust it forward, and it's going to be a great show. That's why I think you should give it a go. Yeah, they may not get up to too much in the first part of the series, but if you can catch up, watch the second half, I think it's going to be worth it. I mean, if you have seen it, I would love for you to leave a comment and just let me know why you enjoyed it or why you haven't enjoyed it. Was it better than you thought it would be? Is it worse than you thought it would be? Leave a comment and let me know, and let others know what you think. In the meantime, if you haven't seen it, give it a go. Honestly, it's worth your time. It's a decent show. But guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this so far. I've got plenty of videos that are in the pipeline, including stuff about episode 9, so be sure to stick around, subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on those videos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next video.